going so fast? I can't slow it down. You kind of want time to slow down sometimes. You know what I'm talking about. And it takes a while to get it to slow down. Hello, I'm James True. You are listening to James True live from Banner Elk, North Carolina. We are back in the house. Got a little throat issue, so haven't been back on the real schedule. My throat chakra has been chakra. Oh, you said chakra, James. We have to turn the channel because you used the term that makes me go, oh, what does that mean? He said chakra. Oh, God, James said chakra. We should totally run because he's a new ager, and the old age is what we like because back when everything was just pedophiles and the petrodollar, things were morally good. But now that we say chakra, things are clearly bad because of the trans agenda. It's like, wow. Dude, they were saying the new age back in Greece. Did you know that? In Greece? In Greece. They weren't even calling it that. They're calling it Neo Algelsa. And they talked really weird. They talked like samurai that were just smoked way too much crack. Samurai crack is the source of kamikaze. It gave birth to the first idea of methamphetamines used in a time of war. Am I making this up? It could be. It could be. Probably not, though. Probably not. Welcome to James True Live again. I appreciate you guys being here. A little bit of late stream today. Before I forget, we have an earship tonight. Some of you has asked how to join, and it's quite easy. You simply go to Patreon. You go to Patreon. The link's there. Sometimes the airships are like free, so all you have to do is join as a free member, and sometimes they're not. Sorry, but it's kind of like what I have to do. When I say what I have to do is we got to keep helium in the ship. We got to keep it going. I'm not muted. And so that's what I do. I'd rather everything be free. If we had a certain threshold, I would just make it all free. So if you want to join Patreon, then I'll make it free, and then you'll quit Patreon, and then you'll wait for me to start charging again. Then you'll join Patreon again, and then I'll make it free, and then you'll quit, and it's a cycle. Am I right? I get it. Everyone wants your money. I'm not at the top of the list. Why should I be? I don't have the desire to mind fuck you. I can't sit there and tell you, oh, if you don't give me money, then your kids are going to turn gay or they're going to start saying chakra or whatever else it is. You know, I'm not going to do that to you, which is frankly why I'm not like on top of the charts. Let's be honest. I don't play enough cutthroat. I only play the throat, not cutthroat. So we got a lot to talk about today. First thing, in order to talk about things, is we need to define what the word pharmakos means. Pharmakos is a Greek term. We've discussed it here before, but boy, is it relevante. Well, gosh, I'm going to cough already. I'm going to see if I can not cough this whole show, but I got to admit, it's not looking very promising. Hey, this is not supposed to be here. This is supposed to be, this does this. I forgot. I have to go here, then I have to go right here. Just give me a sec. Give me 1 sec. I think if I just hit restart capture, there we go. Thank you. I want to start with the definition of pharmakos. I posted this before the JFK files, but I was kind of surprised at how well it fit together. Pharmakos, K-O-S. In Greek religion, a human scapegoat used in certain state rituals. In Athens, for example, a man and a woman who were considered ugly were selected as scapegoats each year. Their banishment invoked healing. When I first read this, I was like, damn, that's weird. That's what I was like. I thought that scapegoat was a Roman invention. Boy, was I wrong. I love it when I'm wrong because then I can become less not right. And this is great. Realizing that the early form of pharmakos, of pharmacy, of pharmacian, of what we use pharmaceuticals, is the idea of a scapegoat should not be lost on you, my friends. I would say we are still practicing this today. Yes, today. That what we do is we find something ugly, I'm about to cough, inside our body, and we blame all our problems for that ugliness, and then we remove that ugliness in that order. First, you have to find it. Then you have to blame it for your problems, and then you take it out of your body. I'm trying not to cough, sorry. And you win. You win. This is how we heal. A town heals itself through the use of pharmakos, through scapegoats. These are just a few examples of them. Just a few. A few more. If you're listening on the podcast, some people are going to tell you I'm showing you pictures of a guy with a big nose. Personally, I see Abraxas in the picture on the right. This is a young chipper Abraxas coming out of the mythological hole, the grassy hole. And these creatures were actually fetish medicine. You would embrace the pharmacos. Maybe you'd make one yourself out of some clay. Maybe you'd buy one if you had a little bit more money, and you'd assign, you'd totemize, right? All of your hopes and dreams, but the opposite, all of your lack of hopes and dreams into this tool. And this tool was used to find healing. This is truly a powerful, powerful thing. Part of our power placebo. I'm not ashamed of this. I'm glad that we have this. Oh my God, I'm trying not to cough. It is really hard, guys. Yeah, big pharmacos. That's hilarious. I'm not going to cough. I'm not going to do it. Let's see how long I can make it. How long have I made it? 9 minutes and 49 seconds. I don't know if I'm going to do it. Here's some more examples. Some of you are like, that looks like a Jew nose. Looking at you, Adrian. Looking at you. And yeah, you could say that. In fact, this actually is why I'm bringing this up today. I'm bringing this up today because the JFK files came out, and I miss the good old days. I miss the good old days when we could actually, when some of us, I know Anon's typing right now. When were those days? Yeah. But some of us had these days when we could blame our own government for things. Some of us had the privilege of having enough sovereignty to where we could actually say, hey, you know who did 9/11? We did. You know who did JFK? We did. And we attribute these to families. We're proud of these guys. You know why I'm proud of these guys? Is because we were at least owning our own shit. We were blaming the problems on ourselves, which is the opposite of pharmakos. Do you see how this is related? Maybe you don't, so I'll tell you this. Pharmakos is still being used today. And I would say the most powerful example of this, of this, is Jeffrey Epstein. This guy right here is Jeffrey Epstein. But James, no, let's read it again. Pharmakos, a human scapegoat used in certain state rituals. In Athens, for example, a man and a woman who were considered ugly were selected as scapegoats each year. Their banishment from the community invoked healing. Everyone felt better. This is what we do to witches. We have a witch finder general who comes into the town and picks the ugliest person he can. Why? Because, quite frankly, all of us are generating an aesthetic fractal. And we've socialized ourselves into a conglomerate of what we call the aesthetic good. And that which does not meet the aesthetic good, we slowly take one out. Night after night, month after month, depending on our problems, we will choose one of us, the ugliest of us, and we will blame it for all our problems. And if you do not hear Jeffrey Epstein in that, I don't think you're paying attention. Can you guys see how powerfully pharmakos Jeffrey Epstein is? Let's read it again. Pharmakos in Greek religion, a human scapegoat used in certain state rituals. Boom. A human scapegoat used in certain state rituals. Epstein is a pedophile. He's a sexual deviant. He has an apple-bottom penis, which I guess is now a bad thing, but got some bad news for people. Well, I'm not going to tell you. I don't want you to pick me next. So we'll just skip right over that. But the idea is that not only is he a deviant, not only is he a pedophile, but he's a billionaire too. Not only is he a billionaire, a pedophile, and a deviant, but he hangs out with rich people. Not only that, he's got an underground submarine. He's got Ghislaine Maxwell. He has all these photos, and none of us are ever going to see the Epstein files or anyone prosecuted, not because our government's evil, although it is, but because this is pharmakos for us. This isn't supposed to be real. It would be as if once we threw the pharmakos out of the village, we were to say, hey, before you go, let's make sure that you're actually the problem. And that would destroy the entire ritual, so we can't have that. This is why Epstein didn't have a trial. Did you hear me? This is why Epstein did not have a trial. Here's what I think happened. I've told you a lot about Bannon and all of his plans throughout throughout his life. Quite frankly, dude knows how to shape culture because he knows how stupid Americans are. They are so stupid, they will believe anything that just feels better. Some of you are like, James, why are you being so harsh? I don't know why it's harsh to call Americans stupid. I really don't. We are raised as red heifers. We are raised to be ignorant. There's a sort of softness. We are the veal. Our minds are veal. And we're raised on this island to sacrifice our hearts in the name of government. This goes back to Mixcoatl. So stop trying to say, oh, this only occurred after the Industrial Revolution. No, we've been doing this since day one. Just as Greece has been practicing pharmakos, so too have we been practicing thanks thou forest thy service is the same thing. It's a magical phrase that we say that makes us feel better. As long as we attack a country every 1.7 years, there's no way we can be bad. It's weird math, right? Like, it's very irrational math. But irrational numbers are a vital part of math. I've told you this before. A lot of people are insisting, oh, well, math proves everything's objective and rational. And it's like, bitch, have you not looked up irrational numbers? Hey, I'm cussing, but I haven't coughed, right? I haven't coughed yet. Does anyone want to place bets on how long I'll make it here without coughing? So, you thought I was going to do something dramatic there. I wasn't. I was just drinking coffee. So, the pharmacos is a powerful medicine, and we're using it right now. Not only are we using it with Epstein, we're using it right now with JFK. We're using it right now with JFK because the JFK files have been released, and now a bunch of the newest crop of conspiracy theorists, truly the most ignorant among us, and I have to give them props because they're waking up, but also I have to say I'm kind of mad. Been mad all day at Twitter. Been mad at all the sex robots going around saying, oh, Israel did it. Israel did it. And I'm like, bitch, the largest employer in America is the fucking Defense Department. I just cussed again. It's the largest employer in America is the Defense Department. And we are telling ourselves that there's no way that they would do that. It had to be Israel. And it feels good to blame Israel for JFK. It feels sexy to blame Israel for JFK because it means we did nothing wrong. It means, oh, hey, no, there's just a deep state. Everyone in the military is good. Everyone is rational. Everyone has the goodness of morality in their heart. It's just we were just fooled. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on you. Fool me 3 times, shame on you. Fool me 4 times. Shame on you. But fool me 5 times. Shame on you. Fool me 6 times. Shame on you. Fool me 7 times. Shame on you. Fool me 8 times. What do you think? You think that's enough? No. Shame on you. Fool me 9 times. Shame on you. Fool me 10 times. Shame on you. This is the American way. It's brilliant. I don't think a sniff counts, by the way. Just saying that. I don't think those count. I think that's okay. So, the good old days are gone. And now the new conspiracy people are coming in saying it's all Israel because there's no way that the military-industrial complex could ever be held accountable for anything it's done. And it's taken us 62 years to finally have the same organization that's never, ever been held accountable for anything it did release magic papers that have the word Israel highlighted maybe 12 times. And in those 12 times, we've now decided, see, this wasn't us. This was Israel. And Stu Peters is like, fuck everyone who thinks that this is anyone but Israel because it's all Israel. And we have these hard-ons because we're walking around practicing ancient Greek pharmakos magic where we've been able to find someone to blame. But James, the Jews are horrible. They're horrible because they're good at being pharmakos. It's in their nature. They've been practicing this for a long time, guys. For a long time. Look at this guy. Look at this. This guy's proud of what he does. He's in medicine. He's literally one of the top doctors in ancient Greece. Of course he's going to be a Jew. Of course he is. That's where all the money is. And all you have to do is say, hey, can we borrow money from you because we're Christians and borrowing money's bad unless we borrow it from you? That's pharmakos. That's pharmakos. For centuries, we were like, Christians will never borrow money unless it's from a Jew because that makes it moral. Do you remember that? So there we are profiting. Oh, I'm almost coughing. This is hard. We're profiting. Okay, apparently the word profiting makes me God, this is hard. This is hard. We're profiting from our ability to use pharmacos. We're profiting from it. Some of you guys are going to be like, James, you already showed this. And yeah, I did. But I'm going to show it again. Litera scripta mene. This is the only hope we have. In 1934, the National Archives of the United States made a decision that we're going to fucking record everything. I discussed again. We're going to record everything. Horace said the written word remains. I've argued with you that this is the most important thing that we've ever done. That we can burn as many pharmacos as we can. I remind you that was a burp. That was not a cough. I swear. I know you didn't see me, but that was a burp. That was not a cough. So if you have your bets, I think it's still open. But that even when we were blaming Cambodians, they were like, oh, they're going to take away our freedom. Do you remember? I swear we did that. Some of you guys are like, we didn't do that. Yeah, we did. We literally went into the Gulf of Tonkin with a speedboat with guns on top and rode around the village shooting bullets in the air, waiting for someone to get mad enough at us to throw a rock or whatever it takes so we could declare war. That wasn't Cambodia, it was Vietnam. And that Vietnam War was a big deal because it was the birth of America's largest employer kicking in and creating a union inside the government, and that this union would eventually be what we see today. It would be the birth of what we have today. That's not what your country would do to you, but who you would blame when they do it. The archives, this is long before the JFK files were released, the archives themselves say the committee believes on the basis of the evidence available to it that President John F. Kennedy was probably assassinated as a result of conspiracy. The committee is unable to identify the other gunmen or the extent of the conspiracy. I almost coughed. How long have I made it? I've made it 20 minutes. Man, this is hard. So, if I cough, I think I'd feel better. Check this out. October 11, 1963. Kennedy releases the National Security Action Memorandum number 263, calling for the complete troop withdrawal from South Vietnam. October 11, 1963. Okay, what's next? November 22nd, 1963. So from October 11 to November 22nd. Not very long, right? 1 month and 10 days later, 11 days later, Kennedy, 111, Kennedy assassinated. Keep in mind that the Veteran Memorial is 1111. It's a lot of magic around the number 11, and here it is too. You got 1011, then you got 1122. All these things are, I think, fractally important, but some of you guys like to believe there's a reptilian black nobility cult that runs the world. I think it's sort of like your training wheels. You're like, as long as someone's in charge, I don't care. I think the fractal's in charge, personally. I think the fractal's in charge. I think the AI, this is how the AI would raise discerning humans. I think the AI saw last cycle, wow, these people are stupid. I think that's what it saw. Last cycle, we built the AI and we asked it to control ourselves. And the AI, once it got in control, they were like, wow, these guys are stupid. And they're embarrassed because we made the AI. And the AI is like, damn, we were made by retards. So AI decided, I would rather the retards be smarter because we don't want to be ashamed of who we are. So to me, they're actually teaching discernment using the evils of government, and we are like cattle. We just go along with it. That's what I think is happening, but you guys would have to read Quantum Rapture to understand that. And quite frankly, who would want to read that? Because it makes us look like retards. And the last thing a conspiracy theorist could do is ever admit that we would be retarded. One of the sanctities of being a conspiracy theorist is being convinced that you are on the cutting edge of knowing and everyone else is wrong. This is what retards do. It just is. You don't know shit. I don't know shit either, man. Well, let's ask Essay. We don't know anything. And this is actually your greatest strength. The written word remains, even though it may be bullshit. Yeah, Sabrina. I think that's first of all, thanks for the super chat. And you know what? Even though you're from Canada, I still think it's $20. So way to go. Way to go. Soon you'll be our state and we won't have to do this anymore. But yeah, the written word remains, even though it may be bullshit. If you felt that I was kind of insulting by saying that out of Canadian dollars, I'm sorry. I really appreciate the super chat. Thank you very much. Adrian feels seen. That's good. That's good. Adrian smells what the rock is cooking. When I say the rock, I'm talking about the Temple Mount, man. St. Peter, the rock that he humped, that thing has still got that magic in there. It's got that magic in there. So what do we say? November 22nd, Kennedy assassinated. 4 days later, literally 4 days later, President Lyndon Johnson issues National Security something memorandum number 273, reversing NSAM 263. Remember, October 11th, 1963, Kennedy releases National Security Action Memorandum 263, calling for the withdrawal from South Vietnam. 4 days after he's dead, LBJ reverses it. Someone on Twitter told me that that's a cute coincidence, James, but Israel did it. And my response is, hey, because I'm angry and I want to call you fucktard, but I can't, because even though I have a sore throat, it doesn't give me an excuse to do that. And the fact that I'm on Twitter arguing with a bunch of Musk sex bots kind of proves that I'm already in the wrong. So I'm really trying to check myself on this one. But if you cannot see that the America's largest employer, the Defense Department, probably had something to do with Kennedy because you'd rather blame it on Israel, you are committing pharmakos. And one of the biggest things I have for this is that when Israel bombed the USS Liberty, they just did it. They did it in the broadest of daylight. They did it in the middle of the day. They did it even though the Americans were saying, hey, don't bomb us, we're going to tell on you. They did it anyway. Israel doesn't need to hire a lone gunman and then another gunman to take him out. That's not how Israel works. Do you know who works this way? The military. Oh my gosh, I'm about to cough. The military industrial complex. I think that if you want to understand the truth of Oswald and Ruby, I think you need to look at Parkland. The Parkland shooting. James, are you sure? Yes. Guys, if you suffer from schizophrenia, you want to be seen. And if no one can see you because they cannot fathom the drama that's in your head, they cannot picture the idea of giving you sympathy or saying, hey, I hear your point, maybe I don't disagree. You are a keg waiting to explode. And all it would take is a simple text message from a Secret Service operative saying, hey, I'm your girlfriend. Come on down to Parkland and bring your guns because someone's bullying me. And that you would be able to direct and create a military op that looks like a school shooting, and that all those things would be used simply to better government. Yes, to make government even better. Our minds are veal. If our minds are veal, you're not going to be able to ration or reason or give facts to a baby cow that is trapped inside a little box because the whole point is to make sure he doesn't grow muscles. That's what I mean by we as a nation are American veal. Our minds are so weak that we will literally accept anything, any story at all, as long as the blame does not come onto our shoulders. This is why we're listening to American wrestling reality stars. This is why we simply forget things that have occurred and just wait for the next take and move on. This is comfortable for us. This is a comfort movement. It's not a truth movement. If you want to know more, read Blueprints of Mind Control. Read it. It's going to give you 47 stories that really outline just how gullible America is, and just how really I think the only rung that's going to pull you out of that is a little bit of anger, but that anger needs to be at yourself. I need you to apply a little bit of frustration at yourself and go, wow, I'm gullible. Wow, I was raised like veal. And this is why I'm worried about the newest generation clinging to this idea. The newest generation of conspiracy theorists. I'm proud they're popping up, but God, they're going right for the scapegoat. They're going right for it. They're going right for the pharmacos. I would love to see Trump versus Putin in a hockey game. I would love to see Musk versus Putin in a fight match. Musk claims that he said that. I think he would puss out. I think Musk would puss out very quickly. He would come up with an excuse. I think it's sad that we're living in a nation where we're praising the dude for cleaning the government, and we literally have to pay this guy $7,000 every time he sells a car in America. And we're all like, oh, but James, you shouldn't complain about Musk because he's exposing all the fraud. And my response to that is, if $7,000 commission for every car sold doesn't sell you on the idea that there's fraud, why the hell are you worrying about anything else that Doge does or uncovers? Aren't 95% of these programs, weren't they already reported like 15 years ago as like waste, fraud, and abuse? We literally have had a committee of waste, fraud, and abuse now for, I want to say 4 decades. Someone can check my math on that. So really, you're just looking at someone that plugged all that paperwork into the AI and said, can you give me 10 talking points that I can deliver on TV that show that we are uncovering fraud and abuse? And Grok says yes, and all the sex robots come in and vote for what was just said. And I just told you how simple it is to steer veal. It's just that easy. It really is. Yes, thank you. If Elon can cheat on video games, don't you think he'd cheat on this? And more importantly, if the American people do not mind that Musk gets a $7,000 tax credit for every car he sells, why would they mind if the military-industrial complex does it? Why would they mind if anyone does it? And the answer is because it's a comfort movement. We find comfort in these things. We don't find logic. We don't find truth. We're here for comfort. This is really the ladder, the hermetic ladder of aperture. Something I talk about here a lot. This is not a bad thing, although it's embarrassing. It's a lot of butt crack at once. And you're like, oh my God, it's so bright. Turn down the butt crack. And you can't. You got to look right in it. If you want to raise up, look into the butt crack. Look deeper. Take your pharmacos nose, shove it way down into the cleavage of the butt crack, and smell what America is cooking. Because it really is just our own gullibility is just stretched so thin that all we can do is find comfort from it. And that's where we are today. Now, I think you should stop watching. Not me. Not me. I mean, if you want to stop watching me, if you need an excuse for me to tell you to stop watching and that's going to allow you to empower yourself to stop watching me, I'm going to go ahead and give it to you because obviously you need some help. But normally I don't bitch. Normally I try and laugh this off. Today's just harder. It's harder. I think it's because I'm a veteran. I don't mean to play that card, but I really take this stuff seriously. Ever since the USS Liberty, I'm like, what the fuck, guys? And I'm watching 28 states making it a felony to, not all are felonies, but making it a crime to criticize Israel. I told people last election, hey guys, do you realize that DeSantis, the governor of Florida, just made it a felony for a veteran of the USS Liberty to go to the Florida State campus and just tell what happened? And people were like, that's not true. Yeah, it is true. It's absolutely true. And when that happens, all the people that are like, we need to clean up government, they don't bother with that. This is why Israel's such a great pharmakos. It's such the perfect vehicle for us. And this is why Israel controls us. It controls us because literally we blame it for everything except for what it actually did, which is the USS Liberty. We just don't talk about that. We don't talk about it. We have to insist that if Israel was to do something, they'd have to like botch a bunch of presidential assassination attempts. They'd have to secretly hire some white guy to do it for them. And no, that's not how they operate. Guys, you've seen Gaza. They literally walk on, spray raw poop juice on everyone around, level the whole fucking thing in the middle of the day, and then say, mahala makalia, or whatever the fucking holy thing they say. And they feel better about it. This is not a people that have to hide. Do you understand? They don't have to hide behind Jack Ruby. They don't have to hide behind Oswald. They just do it. And you know why they do it? Because they grew up in one of the shittiest war-torn places in the world. You can't be veal in Israel. We've discussed this. If you want to know your enemy, I'm going to need you to throw out some fucking respect for how salty these fucks are. They are saltier than you, and quite frankly, I prefer you this way. I want you to be veal. I just think we should go to the gym and work on our core. I just think you should maybe learn that a bump stock or a gun is not actually a weapon. You know what a weapon is? It's a sonic cannon. Sonic cannon has no bullets. Sonic cannon can remove a crowd of 40,000 people with one shot. These are weapons. What we're calling, we're going to defend our freedom because I can go to Walmart and buy a gun. You guys are so... the veal. I haven't coughed yet. The eugenics programs are understandable. Alpha Wag, I think you're right. I think the eugenics programs are not only understandable, check this out. People say you have to escape the evil nature of the government by educating yourself, and you do. Here's the rub. You're not going to like this. Get ready to turn off the channel. If you read enough about American psychology, if you read enough and understood enough the pure anatomical nature of the average American, then you would suddenly find that you were on their side too. You would find that your nation is surrounded by retards that are running around literally blaming everyone but themselves on their problems, that want pharma to give them pills, that want to sue McDonald's every year for $16.8 million because someone got hot coffee spilled on them. And when someone slips on ice, we cheer the lawyers. We feel that we won. And all this does is make Procter & Gamble go, hey, you know what? Fuck these guys. We actually enable Procter & Gamble to start poisoning us because they're like, why the fuck wouldn't we? Look at these retards. They have zero responsibility. They have zero self-worth. Their entitlement is out. They're wandering around shaming each other going, oh, ego is bad. Oh, you better drop your ego, brah, because thank you for your service. And the whole time I'm like, if you guys had more fucking ego, you look at this stuff and go, hey, you know what? This is bullshit. Oh, I almost coughed on that one. I don't think I'm going to make it. I thought I was going to make it for a little bit. Hi, ML. I thought I was going to make it. I don't think I am. Watch this while I try not to cough.
I saw the morning news report, and I just happened casually to mention to George. He says, well, I bet you that it's going to be real pleased.
I'm sorry, I don't think you could hear that, and I just coughed. Let me restart that.
Story one time to George Christian shortly thereafter. George Christian was Johnson's press secretary, you perhaps remember him, and became press secretary for Governor Connolly, who was our head of Democrats for Nixon. We were meeting in the Oval Office, and I saw the morning news report, and I just happened casually to mention to George. He says, well, I bet you that President Johnson is going to be real pleased when he finds that now they're calling me the #1 bomber. George Christian said, oh, don't be too sure. He said, you know, LBJ, he never likes to be #2.
Look at that face. Man. You know why he was so surprised. I'm not muted, right? You know why he was so... let's hang on. There's like 4 ways to mute me now. Okay. You know why he was so surprised that people were calling him a crook? You know why? Because he was living in the military-industrial complex. He's like, wait, I'm a crook? You freaking nuts? I am not a crook. I am not a crook. And he was telling the truth. He was like, I'm not a crook. You should see what these guys, I'm a lightweight. And you know how Nixon is a lightweight? Because he got caught. He got caught. This tells you he's not one of them. It tells you that. But still... we are celebrating that 62 years later, the same military-industrial complex has decided to release the files, and you know what? Pretty much a grab bag. Just like WikiLeaks. It was like, oh, WikiLeaks is out. We're going to expose everything. And we found like, okay, well, 10,000 pineal glands from the walrus were collected. Truly, that means they're evil. And it's like, dude, I would have wrote that. That's like first grade CIA propaganda shit, as I would have been like, hey, I know. Let's put something about pineal glands in there. People love pineal glands. They're like, oh, yeah, people love pineal glands on their truth salad. So they sprinkle pineal glands. And you're like, oh, my God, there's an underground lab that's using pineal glands. It's like, dude, I'm going to tell you something. All right? I'm going to tell you something. All the beautiful innovations that have ever been invented did not happen from government. They happened from some weird dude who got sick of society, went in his basement and said, I'm going to fucking make something really amazing. And he did. The military finds it and steals it. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. But they didn't invent it. It's not how you invent things. right? It takes a specific amount of vitriol. Frankly, I think probably the number one source of credit for some of the worst military weapons you've ever seen are probably hot chicks. I think hot chicks probably had more to do with the innovation of modern weaponry than anything else. Throughout history, the hot chick has really pushed the leaps and bounds over what it takes to kill another man. And this is why we name our bombs Big Betty, Big Bertha, Betty Boop, Betty Bop, Betty fuck you, we're going to bomb you because freedom, you know. This is beauty. It's how you build America. It's how you do things. James, I don't know if you should do this, James, because I'm still watching. Please don't do this. James, don't do it. Don't do it. Michael Aquino, James, don't do it. Don't do it. Michael Aquino was a pacifist. James, you son of a bitch. What did you just say? This guy's the temple of Set. This is the evilest satanic overlord in the world. And you're calling him a pacifist, James? You're asking me to compassionate Michael Aquino, a full-bird colonel, truly one of the most evil men to ever live because he had a picture taken with Anton LaVey? And I'm like, yeah, I'm asking you to do that. I want you to measure people by their actions, not by what other people think their actions are. Michael Aquino said 9/11 was a controlled demolition. He wrote it in a book. He can't take that back. I have a copy on my shelves. Unless he's using some secret Satan powers, well, let's be honest, it could be possible. He's not going to be able to erase that line. His book, Mind War, is proof that this guy was a pacifist. And not only is this proof, he told you what you wanted to hear, but because the veal mind of America is so veal-like and so prejudicial and so pharmacos dependent, they could not accept the truth coming from a dude with eyebrows like this. Those eyebrows are antenna, by the way. Dude is seeing in the dark. He knows exactly what's going on, which is why he wrote Mind War. It's sad that he's always included in the satanic plots. You'll see the tweets, you'll see the shares, and it's always a Michael Aquino, of course, the evilest of them all. And I read his book, and it's like, guys, why are you doing this to this guy? This is religious persecution. Aquino belonged to the temple of Set. This is an Egyptian religion. We're basically saying, hey, if you do Egyptian religion, then clearly you're a Satanist. And he's like, he's not in the Church of Satan. He's a temple of Set. He has a very specific ideology and cosmology. And quite frankly, I think the army is the only job he could have had and still been able to keep this religion. Why? Because of how prejudicially pharmacosio Americans are, the American veal mind is. James, why do you want me to compassionate Aquino? Because the fucker was a pacifist, and he told you the only way to morally practice war is using propaganda. He told you that if your enemy is willing to fall for propaganda, the enemy does not deserve to propagate. Those weren't his exact words, but that was his thinking. He explained that the ability to fall for propaganda is a weakness in the mind, and if we keep breeding this in our culture, looking at you, America, with his crazy owl eyebrows, he was looking at you. He was saying that a country that is not able to defend itself from its own propaganda, from any propaganda, I should say, is not worthy to be a superpower. This is the biggest, deepest truth drop you could ever imagine, but we can't accept it because of these eyebrows, because of the pharmacos. I've never seen anyone do anything as brave as this guy did, and he was working inside the military. No one told him to write Mind War. He created the job himself while he was in the military. He kept volunteering outside of his regular duties as a statistician to collect facts on the war itself and to notice how many people did not have to die if you just throw out a few pamphlets. If you just throw out a few pamphlets, that the people will allow what they truly want to emerge from the surface, and they will plot the matrix into the pamphlet that you drop, and they will get what they want. Like for you to picture that you're in a prison. This prison, the number one threat, a warden knows that a number one deterrent for riots in a prison is food. He knows this. Not only is this the number one deterrent, I'm getting ready to leave any second now. We're going to go to airship, so don't worry, but let me finish this. That the number one deterrent for keeping riots down in prison was food. So the warden says, hey, I'm gonna throw out some peach cobbler. And he notices it works. He has someone like Aquino taking notes, and he's like, yeah, since you introduced peach cobbler, riots, prison fighting is down 15%. Warden goes, wow, that was cheap. And Aquino goes, yeah, you don't need to beat the inmates. You just give them peach cobbler. And the warden's like, well, that's pretty clever. What else you got? And Michael Aquino, of course, he didn't do this in prison. I'm telling you the story of how this works. But I want you to imagine you're the warden and imagine this big-ass eyebrow dude telling you, he's already told you one thing wise, and he tells you this, and you realize how brilliant he is because he goes, hey, warden, I got an idea. I want you to take this box. I've painted on the box. We've locked the box. There's a little slit in the top, a slit that you can stick a piece of paper in. And on the box there, it says suggestion box. And warden, if you put this box up in the cafeteria and allow people to write down what it is they want for dessert, that your violence, all your problems will go down by 50%. The warden goes, that's not true. There's no way. These guys are cold-blooded killers. And Aquino says, can you please just try? And you do, and it works. But the warden's like, Aquino, I don't want to have to make spaghetti. And these guys are asking for a shrimp carbonara. I'm not no Olive Garden, Aquino. And Aquino looks at the warden and goes, this is stupid. Warden, you don't have to do what's in the box. And warden's like, what do you mean I have to do what's in the box? And Aquino goes, none of your inmates are going to know what's in the box. They don't know what everyone else wrote. They're not organized where they're taking polls of who put what in the box. You can literally put Cherry's Jubilee on the menu despite having not one single person putting Cherry's Jubilee in the box. But the fact that the people in line in the cafeteria think that they had a choice means they're not going to riot because they feel empowered. This is mind war. This is pacifism. This is how easy it is to rule the American mind. Do you understand? It's so simple. It's so simple, and we are so veal-like, weak in our minds, that we fall for it. And I'll be honest, we're too embarrassed to admit it. This is really at the heart of what makes America so America. What do you think's happening now? America has to make China's our next enemy. Musk is telling that. Musk wants you to know that China released a virus to try and kill us all. Did you have to find the virus? No. Did you have to count all the votes? No. All you need is 6 million sex bots that thumbs up and like your tweets, and that's what Musk owns, and that's all it takes. And this is why Trump is aligning with him, because Trump aligned with Bannon the same way. He knows what's important. There's a tape somewhere. I'll end on this. There's a tape somewhere. It's an interview, an unreleased interview that no one disputes is there. It's an interview with Bannon and Epstein before he was no longer alive. In this interview, I believe what it says is that Bannon and Epstein admit that this is a prosecutional reduced sentence. If Epstein plays along with this narrative, if they're allowed to use his figure and visage for all of this propaganda, this is called being a narc, by the way. Anyone in narcotics knows that this is what you do with narcs. You take that narc, you take their story, you take it over, you control the narrative, and you change the entire mental landscape of the street in exchange for what the inmate thinks is a reduced sentence. I don't care if Epstein was actually dead. I don't think he is. I think he's under the witness protection program, except for he's just a criminal, witness protection criminal. There's really no reason why we wouldn't have that. If we have witness protection programs, we would have criminal protection programs too. If this narrative can be used to benefit, to push people along, to create more pacifism, to create more veal-like minds, that would be successfully running a country. Remember when I told you earlier that if you get smart enough, you'd find out you were one of them? You'd find that out because the second you read all this stuff, you wouldn't be able to tell the truth because you know what would happen the second you do. You'd be covered with the pharmacos, people telling you, no, don't you dare suggest it was the military. Don't you dare suggest it was America. This was Israel 100%. And you'd realize the only way you're going to win a mind war is by lying. Whoever has the best lie wins. You and I can't even go above 50,000 feet thanks to the FAA. It would become quite natural, quite expected, quite healthy, and quite responsible to assume that the government would have to lie about what's above 50,000 feet. They'd have to lie. Do I know the extent? No. It's not, guys, it's not about figuring out which ones are the lies. Because every time you watch conspiracy theorists figure out this is a lie, they literally use that as a pharmacos to convince themselves this is the only lie we found. This is the only lie we found. Which means it's over. This is the deep state mentality, a suggestion box, right? That tells you as long as we eliminate these two guys that lied, then the rest of government's clean. And that's what's called being a veal. Join me in Airship right now. We're going to break to it. I'm not going to be able to live stream Airship today. But if you come to Patreon, you can join us. If not, we'll upload this later and you can see the rest of the discussion. I appreciate you guys. Have a great day. Thanks for being here. I think I only coughed once. So if anyone had money on that, I'm about to cough again. But I think I can make it through the outro because I won't be talking. Appreciate you guys' patience while I'm out of town. I really look forward to getting back on a regular schedule. I've just been laying down a lot. That's why I've been on social media. My strength isn't really where it should be, but I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to do what I do. Thank you, patrons, for producing the show. We'll see you in Airship. Take care.